Welcome to YogiViews, where my guest is yoga itself, through interviewing those who practice it, teach it, sell it, or simply love it. I am Antonio Sausis. Most everyone knows that yoga, as we know it today, primarily came from India, and since spreading in the West, it is taught now by teachers who are usually born in the country that is being taught. Yet, many Indian teachers, either because they're visiting United States or because they live here, are also teaching yoga. And they continue to be loyal to the tradition in one way or another. Today, my guest is precisely an Indian teacher living in United States, and I invited him so he can share with us some of his thoughts and insights about his experience as an Indian teacher in United States. His name is Pradeep Teotia. Welcome, Pradeep.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Born and raised in a small village outside of New Delhi, Pradeep is an internationally certified yoga teacher who draws mostly from his training in India. He has practiced and studied yoga his entire life, starting with his grandmother in his early age. He is known for bringing the roots of yoga alive for modern practitioners through the integration of meditation, yoga philosophy, nature's vitality, spontaneous humor, and joy. Pradeep, I'd like to ask you first, what was your first experience in yoga?
My first experience of yoga goes way back. When I was growing up a little kid and I see my grandparents and my parents doing yoga, waking up early in the morning, do little asana practices, very simple, very traditional, and then they meditate, and also the bhakti, the singing part and meditating part and chanting the Sanskrit mantras. That was one of the most amazing thing I see in every day, waking up and doing that. So that was my first experience, and when I start doing with them, those basically asana, but I was mostly like playing with them, do some poses here and there and run around when they do. But the thing I was doing with them is kind of feels so nice because my family was all around and I was breathing in those and I was doing it. So it's really amazing to being in the environment that grew up and listening those stories about how the yoga become, how the yoga came, and how the yoga changed our lives, listening from them and their devotional parts. So that was my first introduction to yoga, to being a very simple practice every day, seeing in the morning and doing, and then they go to do their everyday work, the way we move our day through everything we do. But doing the practice in the morning and seeing them, but the day becomes so easier and nicer with practices. So my introduction was very simple. I started from my home. Nothing goes.
Now, knowing now yoga as you know it, would you say that was your first yogic experience? You understand the difference, because as a child, some people say that when you're a small child, you can, as you are saying, play yoga.
Yeah.
But the experience of yoga, when did it come to you?
They come to around early 2000, when I went to take a class with some of my friends when I was in college. So there was a morning exercise pattern in the college. So this guy came, the older guy, and he come and he offer the free yoga classes to the campus. Very old, very nice man, and we go and we practice with them.
This was here in the States?
No, this was in India.
This was in India.
When I went to my college, my education. So people will go. One day I went with my friends, and the first thing he allow us to did that, we went there and he said, let's lie on your back. Like we start with the initial relaxation, initial savasana, and we did that couple of minutes, and after we sat up and we try to focusing on our breathing, and we try calming our mind, and we sit down and we did some asanas. And after I came back, I think I just lost in like in me. Like, what was that? And my first reaction was like,
wait a minute.
yeah, what was that? Like, it's so simple. Started with laying down, meditate, like breathing exercise, calming the mind, and so simple exercise he did. And then after the yoga asana poses, we took a nice 5 or 7 minute relaxation. After we chant a couple of ohms together. But after we finish those ohms and we all sit quiet, I don't think so I ever feel that silence before the moment in my life ever. My mind was my senses, my thoughts, and everything around me I couldn't even hear. I after the class, they all gone, and I sat down half an hour. So that was really, I think that the power, I feel the silence and peace, and then same time the uplifting it within me, I never realized before. So that day I really realized what the yoga, like what people are talk about from thousand and thousand years. When the yoga come to you, then everything change within you and around you. I think that was my first real experience to the practice.
And now that you know more about yoga, you're perhaps familiar with antarmona, with the inner silence.
Inner silence.
Is this what you think you experience?
Yes.
Because it's wonderful. It's a lot of people work quite hard in order to have that experience and to get to be there. So this was a spontaneous thing in you. And were you inspired then to start teaching, or how did that happen?
Yeah, I just start going there, and I talked to the guy a little bit, and I left my college. I played cricket for a while, and then I went to Delhi to search for a job, and I started going to doing a yoga classes in there's a Shivananda Yoga Center in New Delhi, and I met there he's one of my teacher. His name is Mani Chaitanya, and he said you should teach yoga, and I was like, no, I just love the practice. I just wanna enjoy the practice. And he's like, no, you don't have to teach yoga, but you can understand more. And I was like, oh, I'm on for that. So he recommended to go to the Shivananda Yoga Ashram in Kerala, down south, in Nayar Dam, and I went there in 2005 in January, in the beginning of year, and where I met my teacher. His name is Prahlad, and I think one of the most amazing and honest human being I ever meet in my life. I think meeting him is changed my whole prospect, the way I see life now, and then the way I do and the feel about yoga now. So my life and my credit goes to him to introduce me and really telling me who you are and what you can do. So that was really amazing too.
So your way of arriving to your life as a teacher was mostly through deepening your own practice.
Yes.
You went into it to deepen your own practice. What do you feel were some of the... he was a Shivananda teacher.
Yeah, Shivananda.
So what's your relationship with Shivananda?
I started... I did my teacher training course in Shivananda, and also my grandmother was practicing yoga for a long time, and she went. I grew up not very far from Haridwar and Rishikesh, where the yoga was originated in the Himalayas, and my grandmother went there a couple of times to did yoga, and she did the yoga even when the Swami Shivananda was alive in 1940s. So she did some classes in the philosophy from him. So she was very drawn to the teachings of Shivananda, and I hear that, listening the tradition and the practices. So that's why I was familiar, and I met my another teacher in Delhi, and he recommended me to go to Shivananda in Kerala, in Dam. Is a very traditional practice. I think is the base. The one thing I really amazed about the Shivananda practice is we not very emphasize the physical part. We do the asana, but very traditionally, very like we use a lot of breathing. But another, we talk a lot about the Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge, Bhakti Yoga, the devotional. So that's the one of the main part in India. It's about the Bhakti Yoga, the devotion. So because the divine is everywhere, and they're in many forms. So you can't really explain. For me, sometimes people ask about how you can explain their many gods and goddesses. I'm like, I don't know. I just grew up with that, and I just believe in. For me, they all the same. The teaching and the purpose is the same, to connect to each other or with the divine is the higher power. And I think yoga is allow us to connect with that, to allow us to being the moment and allow us to seeing the divinity within and within everywhere. So yoga is one of the main aspect, feeling that.
So you wouldn't necessarily consider Shivananda your guru?
No, I do. I do. I never meet Swami Shivananda, and then he's one of the another disciple started Shivananda Yoga centers in India and around the world. His name was Vishnu Devananda.
Good.
I never meet him too. He died in 92 or 94.
We have just produced a show about the yoga farm.
Which
was one of the favorite places of Vishnu Devananda.
I lived there. I lived there too, in Grass Valley.
In Grass Valley, yes. Yeah. Your family, as you were telling me, also was when they were practicing in the morning as you would wake up, they were practicing the Shivananda yoga.
Yeah, Shivananda yoga and mostly the singing, the Bhakti yoga. So they sing those chants in the morning, because they say the chant have the more to do with the vibration. When you talk, you vibrate. So when you they'll say those names, they are very thousand year old, and you just keep saying. So they connected with you create this vibration, and the mind connected with the vibration. So the mind become calm, and you feel like. Also, the chanting give you the benefit of pranayama, because you use your inhalation,
breathing
and
technique,
exhalation, the breathing technique.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an active form, and after all, you're also singing the name of the divine and the name of the gods and the name of Shivananda. So you're also connecting
with your teachers and their teachings.
In that sense, yeah. So you're basically formed in the tradition of yoga being a discipline that covers mind, body, and spirit, or that addresses mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
Now, as you know, perhaps as yoga popularized or became more popular in the United States and in the West in general, not always is taught as this three-part discipline. Usually the aspects of asana and work are the ones that are mostly practiced.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think people are getting the benefit from the asana, but there's also another aspect in the West. If you see the West very closely, we are basically physically obsessed people. It's you can really see, we see mostly people are with their physical appearances. If you read the magazines, if you see the TV shows, if you saw not really, they kind of don't talk about the normal people every day. They walk around and live in a different part of the world or the country. They only shows those people they have there, you should look like that. So that's why
the role models.
The role models. That's why the asana, because the asana is very physical part. And if you go to India, it's like my father has a belly, and they still do asana, but their purpose is not from the asana to getting a six pack or too much fit or that kind of body. Their purpose from the asana to just bringing the health in the physical body. So when they sit for the meditation, so then they don't have to feel their ankle hurt or knee hurt or lower back or shoulder. So they can sit down and they can really watch their thoughts and allow the thoughts to calm down, slow it down. And if the thoughts there's something is not working, then how I should let it go. So that's the basic.
Yes. So basically, you're saying that as it is in the tradition of yoga, asana is intended to prepare the body for spirituality.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens? What do you think happens when yoga is practiced just to look good or to feel good, and the other aspects are not contemplated?
No, but
do you think it's still yoga?
Yes. It is,
Uh-huh.
because everything is yoga.
Uh-huh.
They will come because we see how faster the yoga is taking over the world.
Mhm.
Because people are feeling the benefit.
Yes.
They do like a simple sun salutation, or they maybe do just some few asanas, so they feel the differences. They feel the stress level is going down.
Mhm.
So they're working their physical body, then their mind become calm, and so that's why when they go out, when they talk about people, they look more peaceful. Then people ask, like, what are you doing these days? And they're like, I'm practicing yoga.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm practicing, I'm going here. So the more people are attracting, so the people are getting definitely benefit. That's why the yoga is growing in a wide range with the people. So definitely, like asana, and slowly people are getting.
So would you agree with the idea that even though some people might not know about the spiritual or mental aspects of yoga, they would be naturally drawn to them because of the practice of asana?
Oh, definitely.
Uh-huh.
100%. They will, because they will realize after a while there's a subtle changes in the subtle body and in the mind. It's changing. So they will kind of, I see more now when I start teaching here. The people come in the beginning, they are here, and they are like they're everywhere. They're like mind. But you see when after the class end and everybody sit quiet, and you see there's a how they say in English, the pin drop silence.
Yes. Yes.
Like 90 minute or 60 minute before, they all was everywhere.
Yes.
But after like just in 90 minute or 60 minute, there's just silence. There's a quiet, and you see that there's a subtle change in people's faces. Like they look calm, relaxed, but they look like bright. So you can really feel them. So I think people are kind of getting, and that's why I think they keep coming.
Yes.
Because they feel that the difference in their everyday life, in their relationships, in the relationship to themselves, they feel that they can sleep better, they can eat better, and they can think better. Also, they can react differently with people when they have this spiritual practice in their lives.
Yeah, certainly. Now, when you teach here, do you include some of these spiritual aspects, or perhaps chanting in your regular classes? Are you still loyal to the predetermined sadhana or practice that Shivananda proposed, or do you mix and match? How do you conduct your teachings?
I use a lot of Shivananda practice in my everyday practice, but I also see what people want in their everyday practice, because the way the Swami Satchidananda says, adapt, adjust, and accommodate. So you have the place you are, you have to adapt with that, adjust with that, accommodate with that. I give them a chance to think about what the yoga means is, but at the same time I try to keep their necessity why they are coming to yoga, because my most purpose to give them best from my way. But then if they are working in a really challenging environment, and end of the day are very stressed, so they have to use their physical body to release that.
Yes.
And when they sit down, and the breath will help to make them mind calm. So when they sit down end of the class, so they can have the sense of the silence and quietness. So when they go home, they relax, and next day they can do better.
So you adjust your series or your poses a little bit to what your audience is.
Yes.
But do you include spiritual aspects? Do you name spirit? Do you talk about the divine?
Yes, I talk about the divine, and I chant in the classes, and I talk about how the yoga change our everyday life. I also allow them. I also try to remember them. Life is every moment. Life is every day, and that's the way the yoga says pay attention. I'm like, if you're in a yoga pose, pay attention. It's not about the holding the yoga pose, it's about where is the mind. If I'm just holding a simple yoga pose and my mind is not there, They just I'm standing in a line with the 50 people. Then my senses are. But if I hold the yoga pose and my mind is there and I use the breath, there's a subtle change. Sudden, I can feel it when I go to the next yoga pose from that. So there's a calm mind, peaceful breath, and also the body differently. So it becomes easier every time.
Well, obviously you do it somehow in the right way, because I have to say that in most yoga studios it is quite common that when there is an Indian teacher rooted in tradition, heavy in spiritual aspects, he has 10 people, 12 people, and then this other hip teacher with, you know, tank top and music and all, they have 100. But in this case, you have a lot of people that come to your class, so it's something you're doing right, that they can accept.
I think I'm adapting with that, like the way the Swami Satchidananda says, adapt, adjust and accommodate. So I'm adapting what the people really, because my purpose to as much as I can reach, as much people can join the yoga, then it's nice if they're coming for asana. I'm completely thankful for that. I don't need to put my thoughts too much on them. Let their experience. They feel empowered to come and talk to me, like what next? And that I see like every day happen. So like that's I want to give them a challenging asana too, so they can really experience their bodies. But the end of the class, when they sit down, they can feel this sense of silence. So when those aspects you mix up, the sense of silence and the physically strong practice, and they feel the change, they keep coming. But I like always give them, yoga is a practice of a self-discipline. You have to do every day. Half an hour, that's okay. 15 minutes, completely fine. 2 hours, great. 1 hour, amazing. But every day, little bit. Sometime asana, sometime pranayama. Sometimes you don't have time, 10 minutes, just savasana. Put your mat and just lay down on the floor.
But do something. Now, I am aware that you also teach in some venues that are in smack downtown San Francisco. These are people that are working in corporate America, and I'm sure you teach other places as well, but I am aware of this. What is your experience with that population? Because they come in the lunchtime, they just have 1 hour, and they're coming running, and how is that for you?
Great, because I kind of really appreciate their effort, because like when we work, especially in those environments, it's like working in a financial institutes, you have a certain time to take a break, and in that amount of time, you sacrifice. You can go out and have a nice lunch and go to talk to somebody outside, but the other way, you take the time and come to a place and do something which can nourish your heart, nourish your body, give the peace of your mind, and you can, when you go back, then you can do better. So I really admire those, because their effort is very strong, but their mind it's and they feel the benefit from that 1 hour. So for me, I am very, very focused for that amount of time. And I'm punctual about starting on time, and I'm very punctual about finishing on time, because they have to go and they have to start their work again. So it's amazing to see that that many people come for that particular time. It's phenomenal.
Yes, of course. Now you also have taught in India.
Yes.
How are the Indian yogis and the American or the United States yogis different? Or the same? What is your...
I taught in India a traditional practice, Shivananda. It's very simple practice, so basically there is a structure, 2 breathing exercise, 12 basic asanas. Sometimes we do variations according to how the people are, and that following savasana with the 2 chants, the beginning and the closing. So everybody basically knows about why they're going and why they are coming for. So it's getting like a easier. It's not so physically strenuous practice. It's physically simple practice. But when you come to the West, it's changed. It's become more physical. But I can't say that part is better or this part is.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's different.
It's different. It's different because in India, yoga is not, the physical part is not really bigger. Like you travel whole India and you can't see a heated class. We already too much heat there, so we don't use the heat. You don't like have a big fancy yoga studios because we don't have the culture. People also don't wear the fancy yoga clothes for doing a yoga. It's just a simple. Maybe I used a cloth for my mat, like a simple cloth, and you do the yoga there.
Yes, no sticky mats.
No sticky mats. No like all these fancy
paraphernalia. Yeah. Yoga paraphernalia.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. If people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
If people want to get in touch with me, they can touch with me through my website.
What is your website?
My website is www.pradeep, my name, and yoga.com. So they have my regular classes. I teach here in Bay Area, in San Francisco and Oakland, and also where I'm traveling. So they can see those on my event page. So all the information is
good. There. Well, I thank you for joining us today and for sharing with us your expertise and your insights about your life as a teacher here. My guest today is Pradeep Teotia. Born and raised in a small village outside of New Delhi, Pradeep is an international certified yoga teacher who draws mostly from his training in India. He has practiced and studied yoga his entire life, starting with his grandmother in his early age. He is known for bringing the roots of yoga alive for modern practitioners through the integration of meditation, yoga philosophy, nature's vitality, spontaneous humor, and joy. I hope you like our show today. And if you care to let me know, shoot me an email at antonio@yogiviews.com. I look forward to seeing you the next time.